Hello everyone, today I am going to introduce you to computers and I'm going to take you through how a computer is and what a computer is. It is going to be an introduction to a computer, and we are going to define a computer and list some other issues in a computer. So, starting from the definition, a computer is a programmable electronic device that can be programmed to accept some inputs in terms of data. Then it processes this data and provide the output in the desired form. That desired form is the way that person who has inputted that data is going to get it. So you'll come to find that a computer helps us in a lot of things. But before we go for that, a computer consists of two main components. In a computer, we have a hardware and the software components. What am I saying? A hardware component, these are physical parts of a computer. The physical parts of a computer are those parts the ones that you can see them, which are the hardware. That is the keyboard, let me talk about the mouse and the display monitor. Those ones are the hardware of the computer, and there's some other many more. Then the software parts of the computer, those are the parts of the computer that are not visible. You cannot wake up one morning and you see them, or you say you can see a software component of the computer. So in a computer, there are 4 units in a computer. One of the units is input unit. The other one is the memory unit and central processing unit, plus the output unit. So, starting with the input unit, you'll find that in the input unit, what we'll need and what helps you to input in a computer. One of them is the keyboard, the other one is the mouse, and the other one is the display monitor. When we move to the memory unit, or the memory part of the computer, we have the RAM and we have the hard disk. This one helps the computer in memorizing and storing some other informations. So when you move to the central processing part of the computer, so let me talk about, is also a central processing unit. That is, one of it is the CPU. The CPU acts as like a brain of the computer, like your own brain. It helps the computer to think, yes, and to remember other things. That is the CPU. The way your brain works is the way the CPU works. But of an advantage, a CPU works more faster than a human brain. That is the most difference, and it can store a lot of information. So what helps now a person to know what a computer is now about? We now move to the output unit. That is the output of when the computer now communicates to an individual who inputted the data. And what will the computer use? The output devices of a computer. We talk of the printer, we shall talk of the projector, we shall talk of the monitor. Those ones help in the output unit of the computer. They help to output things from the computer. So that is an introduction of some of the units. Now we are going to talk about the characteristics of a computer. What is a computer? How does it really function? First of all, a computer, the processing speed. A computer has a very high processing speed. That is one of the characteristics. It is very fast, yes, than even a human brain. The other thing, it is very accurate. That is the second characteristic of a computer. A computer is too accurate, and it is more accurate than a human being, a brain of a human being. The other thing is data storage. It has a wider capacity than your own brain. It stores a lot of information than a brain of a human being. That is a computer. Then fast logical decision. A computer can make a decision faster and easier than a human brain. Okay? Or it is very fast in making a decision. So when you move again to the issue of the repetitive task, that is another characteristic of a computer. It can do repeated tasks, a lot of tasks. You can give a computer task and task after, and it is going to do it. You can give it for a whole year and the computer will get tired. It will redo that task, but when you compare it with the human brain can easily get tired. So that is a brief introduction to a computer. Now, what I'm going to talk about is about now the starting of a computer. In a computer, we have the start button, and then we have the button that can help us to put it off. But before we go for that, we have what we call warm booting, and we have what we call cold booting. In warm booting is like you are restarting a computer. Actually, you are going to restart this computer, and after you have restarted the computer, how are you going to do it? You are going to move to the power button, like the way I'm going to do it right here. You will move to this, like that. Then you come to the power button, which is over here, and after this is the place of restarting a computer. You will restart a computer from this one. It is going to go off by itself and it will start. That is what we call now warm booting a computer. This warm booting, you are not going to start a computer yourself. It is going to go off and it will reopen again without you again doing what? Opening. Now there is this one we call the cold booting. That is now when you start a computer after switching it off. When you switch your computer, you as a person, you switch it off, then you go to the start button. If you want to use it, you come and open the computer that you had already switched off totally. That is now we are going to use what we call now the cold booting. So that is a brief introduction to computer. Thank you very much.